on fire, the newest story that got added crumbled in on itself, and the structural integrity is so bad it's killing customers as they walk around the building.
I disagree entirely and believe that that is the worst coup I have ever heard about Into the Unjust. Here's the greeting post that they made specifically about addressing it on the 24th. Here's the one that came before that, when they told us they'd be taking the rupture strain offline at 6 p.m. CST on the 17th. Here's the other updates that they made about the support that'd be coming in on the 4th, about fixes for some of these erratic landing patterns, lighting issues in the tunnel, and a bunch of other fucking bug fix issue problems that related to the warp pack, the cave biomes, the hot joins, and bot missions. Literally, the same day! The same day! If you want to be exact! 22! Yes, 22. 10 plus 22 is 32. 22 fucking minutes! 22 fucking minutes! After launching Dust Devils! Like, it's so trash. How trash your content is, guys. Like, it's so fucking bad. And no, it's not good enough. The shit that we make, just from the perspective of Path of Exile, blows your shit up the goddamn water. Because you guys are not updating things based on knowledge. You're stealing ideas from other people, not crediting them, and then getting angry when people call you out about it. And then you have the audacity to say it's just good. Your shit stinks, and you think nobody smells it. And it's weird that you keep blaming other people than yourself. But again, what do I know? I'm just some dumb black guy. The main focus of what I want to talk about today is the fact that the Helldivers 2 player base, and creators amongst them, seem to be going through some type of exodus, and I want to find out why. Because right now, what is happening is that there's a bunch of people going about making videos saying Helldivers 2 is dead, Helldivers 2 is bad, Helldivers 2 is this, that, and the other. Because effectively, and basically, it has become a meta-react game. Where right now, this video right here, which is the live stream actually, from Claysthetics, is basically the meta-narrative. Why everyone is winning Helldivers 2, Helldivers 2 is freezing in PCs, da 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 da. The Helldivers 2 creator program gone for others. Fellas, I got banned, somewhat my own fault. And people just sitting here saying, it's so over, it's so over, it's so done, it's so jover. So we're going to be looking into that. And when we get through that topic, we should have more than enough time to discuss a bunch of other shit. Because I delayed what I was doing because there was something going on in my house. And I was not comfortable being live while it was happening. So, let us begin. I have all the videos that I think are relevant pulled off to the side, and a full rant from Thick Fillet about supposedly what his viewpoint of the opinion is. Then I got an iDubbbz Cries over video from Omegon, and a review of Yuka Replayly. But first, I want to address the Helldiver problem. So, let us begin with a general overview with hearing from each creator. God damn, it has no business being that goddamn fucking good, man. Shit. Anyways, so, here's how we're gonna do this. Same as before, or as I've been doing this week. We look, we react, we take in the opinions, we talk about it, And I have to do this for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 videos total. First up in the list, just simply for no other apparent reason than the order in which I had them ordered here after opening them. From Psychiari, why I'm not quitting Helldivers 2, but we need to talk Arrowhead. When I last clicked on it, opened 9 hours ago.
It's kind of empty now in Helldivers 2 creator space. If you didn't notice the great departure of creators on the 16th all leaving, well, yeah, everyone quit. Some temporarily, some for foreseeable future. Some because they were wronged by developers, and honestly shame on Arrowhead for what they did, and others because deadass it's impossible to load this damn game up without my PC freezing.
So, I know that some of these people are complaining about and are crashing out about the state that the game has right now, where certain enemies, certain fronts, certain situations with their CPUs are causing them to have hard crashes and are preventing them from being able to play the game without stutters. I've experienced a bit of it myself, both off and live on camera. And yeah, I can understand how they make you frustrated. However, they have issued patches and balance changes and fixes to this. So it's not the only solution, as he obviously said. The situation he described we'll get to when we get to that person's video. But in totality, that's not the only reason why there's people who are doing it and leaving. Some of them are just bored and they want to go do something else, which is normal. But it's a little bit more than that. So, let's let them continue.
Originally going to keep posting my content, and as I always tell chat, stick to my corner of the internet. But I know and I have been getting asked for my opinion on the situation as it has evolved, and I think I owe my viewers an explanation for how I feel currently in the game, as it would be a little disingenuous to continue on acting like nothing's happened. Now, I'm going to give a little bit of a disclaimer, preface, and a bit of information on where I come from as a player when it comes to games in general, so that you can understand where I'm coming from and how I analyze the situation. As well as, I want to split this video up talking about important pillars that create the community Helldivers 2 has. Those pillars being the game, the community, and the developers.
Pause. We don't have a community in Helldivers 2. Flat out, period. And that's not 3 parts, it's 4 parts. And not just like the democracy officers which makes up the devs. We have our player base. We've got content creators that are friendly to each other, who talk amongst each other, who are an elevated hierarchy position over everybody else. We have tourists that when they get upset, angry, and mad, decide that they can change how the game works for everybody else and mandate those choices and changes on people in their lobbies. Like fucking children. And then we have everybody else who's stuck in the middle in some capacity. Who's just trying to keep their head afloat and just trying to access the game, play the game, have fun in the game, and ultimately couldn't give a shit about whatever is going on here. That's at least how I see it. For reasons that we will describe and get into.
With leaving the last part of this video essay as a quick update on my plans for the future of the channel, as the title says, I'm not quitting Helldivers 2, and it really was just a playful joke. On the whole, I'm done with Helldivers 2 titles I saw all day. I hope none of my fellow colleagues are offended, for that was not my intention.
Why the fuck is that so loud?
Disclaimer. This video will be talking about multiple aspects of the game, from the gameplay, the developers, to the people who play it and the people who cover it. I in no way support the harassment, witchcraft, or online bullying of any of these people. I will be critical of a lot of aspects of our community, from the horrible handling of balance, game performance, communication with players, and how Arrowhead partners treat its creators. I will also be critical of the community and some of its content creators. These are not meant to be personal attacks, and I will most likely get stuff wrong. While it's fair to call me out on it, I hope we can have productive conversations that extend past whether you are a glaze diver or wine diver, so that we can see what got us here and how we can move forward as a community.
The short answer of what got us here is a combination of 3 things. 1, poor optimizations that are a part of the fact that they are using the exact same engine that they used to make Helldivers 1 to make Helldivers 2. And the problems that come along with that, including the actual tech problems. Number 2, a mismanagement of expectation, but not expectations by Helldivers developers, Arrowhead Studios. No, this was a poor optimization and a poor handling of expectations from the player base as a whole. Actively forcing something and demanding something that was never promised, was not guaranteed, is not there, and has now become the conversation topic of multiple situations as people continue levying those unfair expectations on something to become something that it was never intended to be, and quite frankly, they are unwilling to let be different. To the point, up to and including the desire to punish people for said promises that were not promised to them.
I personally try to position myself as a reasonable person in whatever I step into.
And lastly, the ongoing temper tantrums of those groups being upset and mad that they cannot just force people out of the goddamn game. Welcome, Extra Pressure. And you're right. I said literally that earlier. Especially on the concerns of what are the topics that's going to come up when we get to that creator's video. Helldivers 2 is extremely healthy. It's just that you have a very small contingent of people who believe that, amongst many reasons that we'll get into when we approach them in the videos that have them, that the Helldiver 2 community is actually the same as most communities and their best known creators. The community is the people that are making content for the game, not the people who are actually playing the game actively and know of each other and actually speak to each other when they cross paths. And the Creator Partner Program, as it currently exists, is not a Creator Partner Program. It was a good old boys club, complete with selective selection, for certain people, certain groups, and certain members that has been mishandled with the worst communication possible on this side of game development. And we're talking bad mishandling. The kind of mistakes that should never happen, but somehow did.
That means inflammatory rhetoric is usually not used. I will point out issues as I see them, and while honest and blunt about it, I usually try to also provide a fair representation for why something might have been done. Giving people the benefit of the doubt isn't me glazing, and me being critical isn't me being a rage baiter.
Except for the fact that he has to say this because of something that is actually critical to another thing that happened concerning these topics.
Because I happen to disagree with something that is transpiring.
But why though? Why did you use the exact same sound at the exact same volume?
Let's start with the game itself. A while ago, I used an analogy that the game was like a building and the foundation is the core fundamental gameplay design. The structure, the gameplay, the new floor added every story expansion, and the fires that pop up, the bugs and performance issues that sprung up from time to time. Right now, it feels like we have a good foundation, the building is almost totally on fire, the newest story that got added crumbled in on itself, and the structural integrity is so bad it's killing customers as they walk around the building.
I disagree entirely and believe that that is the worst cope I have ever heard about Into the Unjust. Because we, as player base, we, as players, literally failed the first mission order of the play. And it was a simple sample order. Flat out, I disagree. And the reason why is because the game is designed as a living sandbox. Unlike most games that have a forced world script, and it still does in many ways, with the parts that probably matter the most. A lot of the opportunity of things inside of Helldivers are based stringently and solely around the understanding that you play at your pace. No one made the game on fire there has been a conflict of design that has been taken over since Buff Divers by Johans. Quite simply, Into the Unjust has just happened. In the scope of time, it was launched in the beginning of September, specifically September 2nd, and then the War Bond was dropped on the 6th, and we failed the entire first mission order. People went into Oshane, or technically Oshaune as it's actually pronounced. They went into Osaune, and they got their shit pushed in. Because they did not treat it as a new expansion. They treated it as a new planet and new planetoid type to attack. They took no interest in new mechanics. They took no interest in the new environs. They took no interest into the new flora and fauna. They took no interest into any of the things. And started gulping and seething while failing and then losing scope of why they were failing. And blamed people other than blaming themselves. Blamed the game instead of blaming themselves. And throwing tantrums at players like me in the Discord, out of the Discord, in the game, and live on camera, where they get upset that someone is actually working with them in the game, and instead of allowing them to just fuck around, when they get lippy, when they get upset, when they get angry, and they start griefing, that suddenly, that player that they're shooting at randomly, and or murdering unfairly, team killing, is then shooting them in the face with a crossbow across the map as revenge for the obvious outbreak that came from, have you tried not shitting yourself and waiting and working with the team? Inclusion 2, the worst examples being, person playing on one platform is yelling at his friend to grief the streamer, me, live on camera, with another person from the Discord, because when we were playing the match, and there was no problem, because he wasn't getting pressured by the newest enemy type on the map, they were fine. They were chill. The moment that I start making game plans, and I start breaking shit down, they went out of their way to tell that other person to sabotage the mission and ensure that we could not extract before we even completed the mission in a clutch position created by them being dog shit as their way to get revenge. A giant macrocosm of multiple issues, all caused by them not getting good. Into the Unjust put a giant cock up all of your asses. All of you. Every single one of you. It put a giant dick up all of your asses and bent you over and said, yeah, you love them back shots? Oh, no, King. I don't like it. And continued to plow your ass into Sunday, past Monday, and Wednesday and Thursday and Friday till on Sunday. And it was hilarious. It was hilarious to every person who understood what they were doing. It was hilarious. It was hilarious. Because every time, up to and including the example I can actively show you, because I still have the copy of it. Or technically, I have a copy of it that I sent to other people that I sent as a copy of it. Let me go find it real quick. I don't want to expose all my DMs with people. Just the ones that are relevant. Let's see here. Not this player. That's Amy. Yeah, there we go. Where you had perfect examples of people getting ass mad that they can't just shut me up in a conversation and leaving me messages like this where they get angry because I said something like, it's not hard, you can actually outplay this, there is a tell, only for them to sit there and say, actually, how was I supposed to know that I was going to get murdered? Because you weren't paying attention. Because you didn't take the time to learn the game. and you were angry about it. You just found it sarcastic and funny. I don't understand why you're flaming me, bro. You said that I was calling you. You said that I was calling you a shit player when I wasn't being toxic, and then you called a person from the Helldivers community in the moderation pool, accusing me of harassing you, and tried to get me punished by getting me banned from the server. Because the words I used were, "Why are you behaving like this? You're being retarded," which was the case. As this is the democracy officer warning that I got, and this was the meat that I got during that launch. Because they lied. And in lying, chose their feelings over the truth. This is why Into the Unjust is a bad launch. They didn't freely hand you a win in a new territory on a new planetoid. They didn't freely hand you free wins and no harassment from an enemy type they didn't tell us about on purpose to give us a surprise when we got on the planet. That doesn't appear until you get to the higher difficulties. And if everyone's dying at the same time with the same complaints, the only understanding has to be you went to Oshaune on Super Helldive 10. You went to Oshaune on Helldive 9. You went to Oshaune on the difficulty that is under Helldive, which should be, what? Not extreme? Whatever is under that. The closest suicide mission. I have a thing right here. I actually know what it should be. Hold on, cousin. You went to Oshaune on Impossible. There we go. You went to Oshaune on Suicide Mission. You went to Oshaune on Extreme. You went to Oshaune on Hard. And you encountered air superiority from the Dragon Roach, who certifiably does have a bugged damage hit scan, but is not acid. It's pure fire. You went above Extreme and encountered the replacement of the flora and fauna of the Rexter strain, which requires you to learn how to use your weapons. You can't just spin ballistics, because they're underground. They're invincible. You have to actually blow them up with an explosive trait. No, not all your grenades and your explosives, which even if you were, you're still going to have to go underneath the planet, and you can't use those types of supply weapons, because they have way too big an AoE, they're going to kill you in the caves, and they're too unwieldy. No, you need one-handed options. One-handed options that give you sustain tools. So, literally, the fucking spear gun that was in Dust Devils. And then, at the same time, while then complaining and yelling and trying to flame and get everyone banned at the same goddamn time, you faced the Rupture Strain, which was having a bug with its targeting, to the point where when they tried to fix it, it ended up breaking more, so they had to take it out of game and gave an in-game, out-of-game lore reason for why they had to disable it, so they fix it. And while they're doing that, they sent us to other sectors, like they've always done in other campaigns, to the Terminids, to the Illuminate, to the Automatons, back to the Illuminate, then back to the Automatons, and then got mad when players like myself told them, hey, have you tried lowering the difficulty? And then getting pissed baby angry when on evidence, on VOD, hi horror, on camera, on recorded example, and through focused study, as well as my own myth busting on camera to prove the case. Because too many people were just lying because the wiki was wrong, because people assumed, they just took someone's word for it, and they didn't actually do it themselves. That when it came down to brass tacks and brash tactics, they're just shit! They were just bad! And they were just garbage. As Extra Crusher is translating. Alright, we're gonna liberate Oshune. Damn, this planet's fucking my butt! Oh my god! Why is it so hard? Worst of worst being, with the example I just provided from the Cope, no matter how much someone tried desperately to get through to them. No, you're wrong. No, you're not wrong. No, I don't like the way you're saying it, Carl. Like, you're not satisfied unless I agree with you. What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to just get you banned? I can't believe that you're telling me that it's not bullshit. I feel like you're wrong. Certainly and verifiably the loudest piggy squealing that I have ever seen and ever took part in as a content base. Unironically, the biggest piggy squealing, because even when I was getting harassed on fucking Once Human, very rarely did people send me direct evidence of the cope. No, they did not try getting good. Never even during Once Human did I receive that level of cope. Except it did maybe happen like once. But this was like every single fucking mission, every single fucking order, every single opportunity, every single side mission, every single scale of every single damn fucking liberation campaign. We can't do it. We can't win. It's too hard. It's too many. Despite knowing that there is a group of GMs that are changing the goddamn war on a fly. And then it doesn't happen in a day. Because they unironically think that they are playing PlanetSide 2. They're not happy and don't understand and don't want to learn how the game actually works or functions. They want to paint the entirety. Actually, maybe Splatoon was a perfect example to actually explain this. They unironically want to paint the map blue every single time that there is a problem, or they get bored, or they get upset that they're getting shit on by the map. They unironically are demanding that things change so that they can then say, this is how the game should be. They unironically want the ability to take this entire map. Gotta go to the map screen. They unironically want to take this entire map and they want to paint it blue. They unironically believe that what should happen and what should be done is that whenever they are taking on a mission order, whenever they get bored or they think that they can just surrender territory, that we don't like what's currently happening. We've elected that we're going to go over here and take back this territory, despite the fact that it's going to take a while. We've decided that the mission order that High Command gave us is boring as fuck and it's trash, and actually we're gonna go away from where we were told to go or where the mission is allowing us to be, and we're gonna go somewhere over here or over here or over here. Wherever it says on this map that we have greater opportunity to go liberate something, we're just gonna go in the opposite direction of where we were told to go, because we don't like it. Oh man, I can't believe we're getting gambited by the gloom, and we're being forced to fight back the gloom, even though beforehand the gloom was never a factor that was added, and now that it's a factor that's added, we're complaining that we're losing territories we can't fight for, because, surprise, surprise, we're not playing the type of game that PlanetSide 2 is. We are playing, effectively, a tabletop RPG. No, that's not possible, bro. And quite frankly, if they had tried getting good the same way that I did, you would have seen more people learn how to make those fucking tournament choices that would have given them the ability to succeed. Because, of course, we lost. You guys were too busy trying to extract for your medals and experience killing the Hive Lord that you forgot we were there for samples. And as the consequence for having forgotten what we were there for, we ended up getting... Where's Oshune? Where's Oshune? Where's Oshune? We got penalties in the form of operational parameters. We started losing arming time. We started getting extraction delays because of the high density interstellar spore cloud that we just got the ability to travel through. to even do the content. There was a lot more at the time, and I didn't take a picture of what there was, but we had things like ammo resupply shortage, fixed wing shortage, heavy gloom shroud, and all the other downturns, making it impossible to survive and win. Or rather, close to impossible to just survive and win. But hey, guys! Remember the creek? The creek! Remember the creek? The creek! During a time period where the game was difficult, not because the game was properly balanced and had an actual challenge, but it was fucking ass crazy! Where your weapons were weak. Where your design was weak. Because there was a person that we recognize as Greg that was designing them weak. Because he was told to put out war bonds that then gave you a reason to buy them. And then you all made the exact same excuses, or rather, the accusations, that could be made of a MOBA. Oh my god, the last war bomb is weak because you nerfed it into the ground after it got rebalanced. Now you're forcing me to buy the new war bond. And everybody's saying, the creek, remember the creek, remember we had fun in the creek? Man, love creek, guys, the creek. It's the new Bug Creek. Let's go find a new Bug Creek. Oh my god, guys, we're getting our asses pounded on the Bug Creek. I don't know. That's what you asked for, wasn't it? They ordered a Bug Creek, you got one, and suddenly, oh my god, the game sucks, the game's bad, I can't fight against this enemy, it's too hard, it's invincible under the ground. Have you tried using different explosive types? I don't have enough grenades, Carl! What am I supposed to do, Carl? Have you tried using the supply pack to supply yourself with grenades? And also using a grenade body to bring along extra grenades? How do I do that? That's boring! Let me play the game my way! It appears to me that you are getting your ass pounded because of the way you're playing, and you don't seem to be changing what you're doing. Have you tried taking our advice? No! Because you're going out of your way to harass me! Politely giving suggestions. I'm going to get you banned! When I see you on your stream, I'm going to harass you and kill you on sight! Later on a planet, remember me, you mother pig! Yeah, so I'm the lobby host, so I'm gonna go ahead and court-martial you, bruh. Yap. Words I'm not gonna repeat. Yap. I don't know, what am I supposed to do, bro? Just sit there and watch you be suffered? Oh, I should? Because you won't take my advice? Damn, that's crazy. For an entire month and a half, technically. Because it's the middle of October. For a month and a half. Maulding. That they couldn't get good. Not taking in strategies. Not changing. Not thinking. Not learning. Not listening. And the ironic thing is, the Hive Lord, the more interesting part that they wanted to interact with. Because, oh my god, look at the size of that thing! An enemy designed to get the newer divers experience and opportunities to get probably the best setup for farming super credit in the entire game. Completely independent of difficulty. Go to fucking 3 or 4. Probably 3. Go to 3 on the planet and just farm the super credits. You don't have anything you have to open. They're just on the planet. Grab an FRV. Fly around the planet in a goddamn Humvee. Collect them. Reset. Get free money. Unlock the equipment you think it is you need. And then after you got what you thought you needed and you still suck with it, come listen to the streamer who's live on camera telling you, no, you're wrong, I recorded the evidence, here's the proof of how to counter them. And actively showing and telling you and giving you examples, multiple examples to work from. All of Into the Unjust. In terms of the new front, the new mechanics, the new events, the new missions, the new mission types, the current sub-faction of enemies that are disabled until they're re-enabled, and then the Predator strain that they placed on the planet to replace them, because, you thought the fucking Rupture strain was bad. Oh, what's that? That enemy strain that even though you can use your light armor penetration weapons, you're still gonna die because you're not actually well reloaded? Oh, I guess you're gonna get swarmed. Why did I get left behind? Because you stopped to just shoot at them. But we're being chased. Yeah, and I also told you, let's get ahead and go to this point so we can hold them in a choke point. Man, that's not how I play the game. Fucking into the unjust, more like into the goddamn fucking nursery. Never seen such crybabies. And it's so weird, because it wasn't even the new divers. The new divers were having fun. Because, ironically enough, fun is not dependent on you automatically winning with absolutely no struggle. They liked the fact that they were learning how to make tools, because ironically enough, the new equipment wasn't the winning spree. It was the old equipment that is designed to be used one-handed, that could easily be able to counter enemies, because it was designed to be used that way. But no, your personal favorite, your personal darlings, didn't give you easy access to the win. So when they tried to get your ass to the Greek, it was an acceptable answer. Anything other than what would give you the win, as long as your dignity was intact, I guess. But by and by, that's just my opinion, you know, and what do I know? I'm just some dumb black guy.
While I haven't had my PC turned into an IED yet, I find it worrying and sad that the bugs have gotten this bad. And while I know the game development is hard, something I've said, I don't use that to excuse bad performance and issues.
Cope, because the Terminids aren't even the ones that are causing it, bro. The Terminids aren't even the ones that are causing the crashes. It's the automatons. And it's specifically certain automatons on certain missions in certain conditions.
Development is hard, but I'm sorry, bro, you chose the profession. Imagine if you were getting surgery and the heart surgeon told you surgery is hard. You would probably want a different doctor. Game development has a cascade of different issues that can pop up from just a simple bug fix. However, I think on issues we face is Arrowhead rarely takes time to completely iron out a patch where more stuff is fixed than broken.
No, that's not why. We're playing a live service game, and many of you refuse to update your fucking clients. So when something breaks, you blame them instead of looking into it and figuring it out for yourselves.
It feels like we go in with the mindset of fixing one thing and like a bull in a china shop, don't care what we break on the way to fix it.
What a wonderful way to describe the Boogalo ruptures. You all complained saying that they were broken and they were uncounterable because none of you took the time to lab and figure out their weakness. Then, when players like me discovered their weakness, told you with definitive effort and proof, live on camera, recorded, so you can't say, nuh-uh, that here's what's most effective, here's what's the minimum effective, just to counter their mechanic. Because many people don't even realize that the rupture emerge cancel was a mechanic. They thought it was a bug. You said, no, that's not what I want. And decided to do the hardest part the longest way possible.
Besides performance and balance, I'm at the point, Arrowhead, I don't want another war bond. I want you to release a war bond of attachments. Why don't we have more attachments? Why don't secondaries have attachments by now?
I mean, the attachments that we have in the customization system that was launched with Heart and Democracy, literally the week of the Great Host invading Super Earth. We don't need them for the sidearms. It'd be nice. Really, the place we need attachments to the sidearms for the weapons for is actually the supply weapons. That right now is just outside the scope of the situation. That's currently outside the scope of the situation of the programming of the game. Because anything they fuck with that touches the Timochi's weapons has to go through a patch fix. So, God damn it, every time. The same thing that we had to deal with, rebalancing and reworking things like the Eruptor has to be done again for the sidearms and supply weapons. I doubt we'll get customizations for stratagems. But it remains to be seen. That's just part of the quirks. That's just part of the game. You can no more blame Arrowhead as you could blame Helldivers, as much as you could blame Nvidia for lots and lots and lots of the driver problems. In combination with any of the problems that were affecting the game, were critical to being more of the issues that was causing the overhead of most of the concerns. And you realize, instead of asking for a war bond of attachments, you guys need to stop demanding they fix everything all at once and give them the time to fix the game. But of course, most of you are unwilling to do that. Which is why there's a bunch of people who think they have the power to force them to do something, saying, I'm quitting, I'm leaving. Which is hilarious. Yes, take your toys out the tram. By all means. Everybody else is looking at you weave like, okay, bye. It's not an airport, you ain't gotta announce your departure. Cause you don't move like that. That's not how it works. It's not how it is. Your analogy was, if your doctor comes up and he's like, damn, surgery's hard, bro. Oh, well, I'm gonna find another surgeon. Okay. By all means, go find another surgeon of the video game. We'll still be here. They'll still be trying to fix the problem. And you getting mad that they're not moving fast enough for you will continue to be the issue. This is something you're forcing on them because you're making them move faster than they should. And instead of being patient and waiting and being reasonable, you're fucking throwing your goddamn tantrums.
The game is broken on a fundamental level, and breaking people's hardware is just blows. But I feel a lot of the issues past horrible performance, game-breaking bugs, lack of content on stuff like attachments, armor customization, people smarter than...
We don't need to customize our armor, because the armor is the customization. What you need to say is you want to use transmogs. And unfortunately, you shouldn't be able to use transmogs. You know why? Because the armor has the passive. This is you demanding that they make a choice on quality of life and getting mad that they're not doing it fast enough for you. Amongst many other things. Because if the weapon passive was on the helmet, and then the body passive was on the body armor, and then you had a passive also on the cape, would that solve the problem with the customization? No. Now you'd be having problems with trying to optimize everything, as you've already tried to. But because this is a sandbox, and there is no meta in a sandbox, you're angry that you can't do what we are doing over here in Path of Exile 2. Or 1. And instead of actually just playing a different game, when not announcing that you're angry, you're announcing that you're angry, leaving in a huff, and playing friend slop that asks nothing more of you than having your friends. Because your fun is not derived from playing the game. Your fun is from not being challenged. And unfortunately, that's not how that works. You said game's boring. You said not enough content. They created not only multiple world events that have changed the topography of the map, but you said, that's not enough. That's not enough. That's not enough. We want more. And then when they gave you more, you said, no, stop it. It's too much dick. It's too much dick.
To me, have pointed this stuff out, and this is going to be the shortest section because I am in 100% agreement with what you see a lot of the people saying, and I don't have much to add. Out of touch devs sticking to your guns on bad decisions and the inability to fix bugs without making them more. I mean, I can only say the same thing in so many different ways. So why
don't you design the game? You know so much and you're not willing to negotiate what should be changed, what shouldn't be. Why don't you just leave? Well, you are, but you're still not happy then. It's the same tired narrative. Over and over again. It's the same tired narrative. You all have been saying this shit since April. Stop it.
Let me talk about Arrowhead. Arrowhead, I honestly don't know what you're doing outside of hopefully getting that what was a mid-October patch, which is gonna be now, I assume, an early September patch. I said on day 2 of Into the Unjust that it was an awesome expansion in the evolution of Helldivers 2's formula, but we should probably put a halt on content because the game performance is really cooked. And then I saw the community rally behind the idea of halting content for a bit and focusing more on fixing bugs and performance, doing another 60-day patch. Yet you kept chugging along like nothing is going on until recently, to your credit, where you say you will be addressing the issues, and in that interview with that game director, you say we'll push content back to fix the game. And that's awesome. But it should have not reached this point, and that's unacceptable. Arrowhead?
Then you all should have stopped telling them to push after the Battle of Super Earth. This is a direct result of what you asked for. You asked for this.
Arrowhead is a horrible communicator, leaving room for people to speculate, never shutting down overblown expectations, having
The communication staff is not the same as the developers, and they do not talk to each other in the same departments.
no central focus for communication. While I love Clap,
They do. It's called Zendesk. You go to the Zendesk and you leave a ticket. Preferably with examples of the content in question that you're complaining about. And then they fix it. Because they'll give you a response. Every time I have made a ticket, I have gotten a response. What you want is instantaneous feedback. This is not Warframe. This is not Digital Extremes. This is not Path of Exile. It's not running your games. It's not a small local indie dev team like Local Thunk. Or any of the teams that are working on things that are like roguelikes. Which includes Author. Or the team behind the Doors of Trithias. You want them responding to you live on Twitter. That's what you guys want. Because when they communicate to us, they make it very clear. There's a dispatch almost every other goddamn day or week. You know who's making those posts? I can show you who's making those posts. Every time those posts get made, they're published by the same person. If you already know, then you already know what I'm about to say. But you know who makes those posts and makes those updates and gives those posts about player feedback? If it's not this particular one, who actively does communicate, and is a developer who's on the team, who's also on that team, guess who else's name it is? That's right! Carol Baskin! Who are the people who are part of the community team and the community staff? Because all these blue names are volunteers. They're not employees of the company. They are people who are a part of the moderation staff. Their job, should you need them, as I have in the past.
You are eating straight eggs, no bacon. What the fuck are you doing?
Is that when you have a problem, and somebody fucks with you, as somebody's tried to fuck with me, they can be contacted, and then they can communicate, and then when you communicate, and you go through the process, and you handle it with them, and there's an issue, and a problem, they will give you a direct message. No fucking problem. You know who that is? That's one of the moderators who's being harassed by clones. Specifically, the very big one. Not once! Not once Welcome back, Bolster. We are one away from getting new alerts. Not once has it ever been the case that they have never been listening. You niggas just don't talk. You don't open your mouths. And then you direct your issues at people who can't solve them. You make non-controversies, thinking if we make a lot of noise, then they'll have to respond to us. And like retards, you think that shit smells good. You think that shit's logical. How do they help us if you won't help yourself? Fuck the gameplay. How do they talk to you if when they talk, you say la 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 la? That's not how it works. And it's so weird, because the people who say that they're community people aren't community people. Because I say near not one of you niggas. Near not one. Because the entire Discord channels have been made into a shit spree. Which is why we have to have so many goddamn moderators. You guys shut it up all the time. The one place it's not shitting up in is the Game Master chat. How do I know? Because I've been in there. I stay in there. Even when I'm editing. Sometimes even when I'm doing shit, like the fucking modules I was doing last night. I ain't saying, man, not one of you motherfuckers in that goddamn chat room. You do not converse with people. You do not talk with them regularly. You are inside of islands, fortresses unto yourselves, where you go to the Discord just to take screenshots of updates that you don't like the response to. You know who has been in there and has actively been engaging in conversations, especially even when pinged, and not just showing up to complain about how somebody referred to them? Finier. Remember the guy who specializes in making TikTok videos where he basically explains how to play the Galactic War Table and how to functionally move around the map? The guy with GERD? Because I talked to him and he actually explained that he has GERD. That's why his voice is like that. Boop. Bop. Bada boop. From. Oh, it's not going to be from. In. GERD. Finer! He's been in here. Different screen. I broke it. Diner! He's been in here! Frequently! Lots and lots and lots and lots of times! You know who hasn't been here? Not a single goddamn creator we're gonna be hearing opinions from! Not one! The only time you people go to the goddamn Discord is so you can farm opinions off of Askinator. It is absurd. It is absurd. It is absurd how entitled you guys are. And then to have the audacity to say the community, when you don't commune with not a single motherfucker anywhere to be found. Not one. Maybe amongst yourselves, amongst the rest of you that are effectively farmers. And it's not a new, unique thing, either. It's something that happens in any fucking community. It happens in any fucking community. We're at 4 now, by the way. Ironically, we're almost done with this. But we have yet to cross the first tiers of this. I'm not angry, I'm not shaming, I'm not depressing you guys, I'm just letting you know. It's so childish, man. It is so hard having conversations with people who keep bringing up the same fucking talking points and never fucking learn from their mistakes. It is so frustrating. It is so frustrating. And to hear this absolution of, well, I'm gonna quit because they're not doing what I want. Well, I'm gonna stay around and I'm gonna behave like this and this and this and this because this and this and this and this. What's the fucking point of having a goddamn official Discord? Y'all niggas ain't talking to each other. You don't know what you guys would know what you guys are doing? What you guys are doing right now, just like everywhere else in the Discord, is this. The entirety of any conversation is memes about other games and constant shitposting. Yeah. This is community. Yeah. Getting upset that we have to do another Hellwhiners defense. Yeah. It's unusable. It's unusable, man. It's fucking unusable. The subreddit is only slightly better, because at least people are focused on their topics. They give their opinion and everybody else pontificates off that opinion. But, besides that, negative Nancy's and Tanny Cappies that won't shut the fuck up about goddamn leaks. And that's why they sniped Lieutenant Buzz Lightyear. But let's not even begin to talk about that one. He knows what he did there. He's just unwilling to change. Similar to another creator that's in the list here. Anyways, continue.
Cloud, and I don't mean this in a negative way. I should not have to be subbed to Cloud to get my news for Helldivers.
You don't need to be subbed to Cloud to get your news for Helldivers. You get your news from the goddamn dispatches. What a fucking lie. They have always given news posts in the Discord and officially through Steam. Has always been the case. You do not need to be subbed to a YouTuber to get your information. You're lazy.
Speaking of which, go sub to Cloud Plays. Great
I will not.
guy.
No, you guys are not, because you don't promote anybody outside your clique.
Why is Arrowhead's communication scattered across random Reddit threads, one-off tweets, random posts in the Discord general? I remember you said...
Because the things that you're referring to were singularity tweets that were made by the original CEO, now CCO. That's why. Because we don't have an active bureau panel. Because what should be the game's encyclopedia, FX Mundo, and Bestiary is locked behind a feature that has yet to be activated for reasons that we can't really explain or understand. And yes, the honeymoon phase of Helldivers 2 is over. Now comes all the petty people problems.
We would now hold a weekly blog post and centralize that communication to allow easier access to said information. Similar.
They did. It was called the blog posts. It was called them already communicating with Baskinator. It was called them already communicating with Mitchell. It was called them already communicating with everything else. What you want is you want them to act like NetEase. And unfortunately, this team does not act like NetEase. They don't put out the level of the updates that Once Human puts out. You know why? Because we get them inside my Discord. That's how I know we get those updates. I push them to pull-in announcements, and we get them frequently. And when they release posts, man, nigga, they release posts. Carl, we don't know what you mean. What did that look like? I'm going to show you what it looked like. From inside of the Discord's pull-in announcement section. These are updates from the Free Stuff app, telling you about free-to-play days, as well as places where you can go claim copies of games on either Epic, Steam, or other platforms. Here's the messages from High Dispatch from Helldivers. Here's them calling out on the 14th about there being a new survey and feedback. Here's them announcing the major order. Here's them having a democratic conversation with that person you just referred to, the game director, Michael Erickson. Update, all of this is free stuff. Update, all of this is free stuff. Greeting Helldiver, player Discord, this is the 7th. That was the last major order. Update, push update, blog update, poll, tech blog number 1 for the tech issues that you said that they were referring to. So you were lying when you said you were happy they were doing it, but whatever. Scroll. Helldiver update 924. Update 23. And then shit that I was talking about with the goddamn store. And all this other stuff. Meanwhile, over in Once Human, I guess I have to resupply Once Human to the list. Meanwhile, over in the Once Human Discord, game news, event news. Let's just scroll to the bottom, to the most recent one. Boom. Co-host communications plan on how to make a custom server. Boom. Updates about language violations and about fair play announcements for the game, which they do frequently. This one being for the 26th to the 2nd of October. Another one. This one being for the 19th and 25th. Another one. Game events news, which itself is big and thick, as the game is itself based on a content cycle, so they have to have this. How about the patch notes? Yeah, them motherfuckers stick too. All of this right here is one update for the upcoming and current patches in the game, which also includes stuff that's in the cash shop. Obviously. 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 But they have more content than Helldivers 2 does. Because Helldivers 2 is a sandbox. This is an SMP. And it's still going. And it's still going. And it's still going. That's version 1.5 update. Here's another update for all the bugs they fixed on 2.4. Here's another one for the 30th in September. Another one, 28th. And another, and another, and another, and another, and another. And even more updates from the last update that was for content. And it's all sectioned out based on the stuff that's important. And that would be relevant and also cool. Like, I wish they would bring back this skin. Because honestly, every single skin they give to the women is serving cunt. It's serving cunt. It's serving such levels of C, V, and D. I can't believe how good it is. But I haven't been playing it because I've been playing other games. And it goes on, and on, and on. That's the communication style that you want them to do. And unfortunately, you know what that comes with? It comes with ownership by China. Because NetEase is owned by China. You want to play a Chinese game? You want to have frequent updates? Like Nexon? It comes with strings. Lots and lots of strings. So I don't know what cope you're talking about. They have always been giving out information. They have always been making updates. You just don't fucking read them!
To a twab from Destiny for all my refugee guardians out there, but literally the third blog post in, we forgot to keep that cadence, which sadly doesn't inspire confidence, because if we can't keep up with a simple blog...
No, pause. No, they don't. They don't have to keep up with a goddamn thing. All they gotta do is make the game. You keep up with the blogs! You make it notice to the why don't you keep up with the blogs? Why don't you tell people in the community? Why don't you make it your job to make sure people understand those posts? And you deliver that information the same way that the Galactic War History channels do every time there's an update about our war events on the goddamn theater map. You don't. You'll make updates frequently about small little patch updates on the cycle. But you won't do the hard work. When you want to be journalists, suddenly it's not that hard. Why can't they do it? When it's time to step up and continue being those journalists, why can't you guys do your job and keep your promises?
Posts outlining issues, fixes that are coming to attempt to fix those said issues, announcements.
They did. Once again, they did. You didn't care. You didn't listen. Or you noticed it and you said, actually that's not good enough. Which is probably the most frustrating thing. To be technical. To be exact and technical. How do I know? Because they're in there, dude. Again, they're in there. They're literally up there. Here's the greeting post that they made specifically about addressing it on the 24th. Here's the one that came before that, when they told us they'd be taking the Rupture Strain offline at 6 p.m. CST on the 17th. Here's the other updates that they made about the support that'd be coming in on the 4th, about fixes for some of these erratic landing patterns, lighting issues in the tunnel, and a bunch of other fucking bug fix issue problems that related to the warp pack, the cave biomes, the hot joins, and bot missions. Literally, the same day. The same day. If you want to be exact. 22! Yes, 22. 10 plus 22 is 32. 22 fucking minutes! 22 fucking minutes! After launching Dust Devils! But that's not good enough for you! Or worse, you're not willing to work with that. Take your pick. Are you too picky, or are you just an asshole who keeps making never-ending demands because you're not happy because more cheese! It's macaroni!
About what's going on in Helldivers, and maybe giving a statement on events that occur, such as the buzz stuff. How can I trust you? How can we as the player base trust you to be competent or consistent?
Notice that change between player base and community? Did you notice it? I noticed it. That's probably the most annoying thing that they can't do shit about. The fact that you guys can interchange between being a player base and being a community when it suits you. in the fact that you do it constantly. Constantly. You do it constantly. It's so annoying. It's so annoying. You're unironically like children.
Consistent enough to hold true to your word, which seems every day you prove we can't. Can't stick to a blog post, can't stick to a mid-October patch, and while I know I am being extremely negative and going hard on Arrowhead, it's frustrating. This is one of those games that has everything it needs to be the best horde shooter on the market, and it says something when the player base is willing to risk their hardware to play the game. But it feels there's a disconnect. While I barely know anything about the Propaganda Commander stuff, that program should be a place to celebrate your content creators and keep a finger on the pulse of the community.
Yes, that is actually true. That's how that should be used. Do you want to see how it's actually used? It's gonna be depressing as fuck. It's the reason why any person, if anyone has a reason to complain, it should be people like me. Here's how Propaganda Commanders is used. Free real estate. That's what it actually is. It's free real estate. Doom, Claysthetics, Demostorm, Super Earth Salute, Ragnarok Legion, Phase Shifter, Glitch Unlimited, DJ Chats, Cloud Plays, Crazy Mr. Pips, The Gundam Boy, Red Monster Thing, I'm calling them out as I see them, but you seeing the same people posting shit constantly. Strider of Valor, Ragnarok Legion, again. Still more of the same, still more of the same. There's a lot of Doom posting from other people. I wonder how long I have to scroll until I see somebody else. Found out. Miss Tofu. More of the same, more of the same, more of the same, more of the same, more of the same. Commissar Kai, technically. Almost said Commander Kai. More of the same. Thick Fillet. More of the same, more of the same, more of the same. Odo. And if we keep going, background gaming, on and on and on and on. The same users. The same creators, the same people, being featured as a free real estate update post of their content. It is unironically the same people every time, and it's all content bait. You're not making content, bro, with maybe the exception of shorts, but that's not really content. No, not really. That's you guys making small, short tips and clips to keep people engaged in their cycle. And unironically such, almost to staple, to period, the end of the sentence of how pathetic it is. The very same stream that I just talked about, trying to summarize how Helldiver 2 devs have crossed the last line and everyone's quitting. It freeboots your shit directly to the server. But it was only people who were bought an invitation. Only the people who were flew out to Arrowhead Studios, and nobody else. And yes, they have rules behind who's allowed to do what. And yes, they can choose to say that you're not allowed to be inside, or they can remove you from it if you do something like fucking lie, and or spread rumors. 100%. 100%. But unfortunately, that's how it works. When you're doing business with a company. When you're being trusted to be put in a very precarious, special position. They trust you to treat them properly. Talk to them nice. Not constantly tell them that they're the fucking devil. And instead, as you'll find out when we get to the one particular person who decided to do this the wrong way, you go out of your way to make an issue. You go out of your way to be annoying. You go out of your way to be harassatory and accusatory and get mad. You unironically get upset and get mad. Uncalled for, even. And you make it something it's not. Like, it's so trash. How trash your content is, guys. Like, it's so fucking bad. And no, it's not good enough. The shit that we make, just from the perspective of Path of Exile, blows your shit up the goddamn water. Because you guys are not updating things based on knowledge. You're stealing ideas from other people, not crediting them, and then getting angry when people call you out about it. And then you have the audacity to say this shit's good. Your shit stinks, and you think nobody smells it. And it's weird that you keep blaming other people than yourself. But again, what do I know? I'm just some dumb black guy. Continuing.
Which is why I'm confused when I find out through Arrow's video is managed by an outside talent agency and not the community managers.
Yeah, because they are a small dev team and this is new to them. So they're outsourcing it. And because they're outsourcing it, it's causing problems. Which is a fair thing to complain about. Do not get me wrong. But what you guys then do is the worst response. Every time. Every time. The worst response. Every time. The worst response. And you're shameless about it. And then in being shameless, you're like, oh, well, I seem to have burned a bridge. Oh, well, it's their fault, not mine. They shouldn't have done it to me. You made me do this.
Literally in Destiny 2, creators have access to devs to point out issues, talk about upcoming stuff.
Yeah, because that's a game that's got even bigger money behind it. This is not Destiny 2. Stop comparing it to other live service games. This is a different environment.
Just like in this program's perks, even going one step further in Helldivers 2 by giving out a free war bond, which is awesome. However,
getting free war bond is not that big of a perk. Also, thank you, Bolster. It is not that big of a perk. That's not the thing that I would be concerned with, that I think is important. I think what's important is that we have the ability to receive responses and information when it happens, and have the ability to address it as we need. Unfortunately, that is not what we're getting. That's not what's happening. Instead, what's going on is some bullshit. Some pure paralytic bullshit. That is not helping anything in the scope of anything. Because the majority of us are not getting the help that we need from the sources that we require it from. Because some people are more focused on their feelings, than they are the actual truth of what's most important. Which happens to be the fact that you cannot just shit on the developer and expect them to come up with solutions to things that you caused when you decided having a temper tantrum is more important than actually talking to them. And then, after they've written you all off, because you've been acting like absolute bastards to them, that you say, maybe I was too hasty. Nah, you think? Just a little bit? Just laying on a list a little bit too thick? Being just a little bit too mean? Being just a little bit too shit? Oh well, should've thought of that before you said it. Too late now.
why would you not want to have direct access to your creators? As well as Arrowhead, why do you not do anything about misinformation in this community? Every day is a new...
They do something about the misinformation. And when they give you guys the opportunity to be able to handle it in-group and in-house, like an actual community should, you say, nah, that's too hard, that's not our job. And you don't help. You don't act like a community. This is not what a community acts like. Oh!
New leak video about a fourth faction, a legendary 40k war bond because of a fake leak concerning a chainsaw sword. The whole DSS disappointment and anger.
That sounds like you fell for a scam, boy. How is that their fault that you guys are gullible? Because instead of actually checking with them, you did your job and did your work. Sounds a lot like some bullshit. Sounds a lot like some bullshit.
Is not the fault of the leakers, it's your fault, Arrowhead. You can easily come out and say in a blog post, concerning leaks on the internet, we do not support our players ruining the surprise. We want to be able to share those events when appropriate, as well as leaks have a knock-on effect of setting expectations way higher than what's really gonna happen. Instead, you stay quiet, you let the hype drum up, and then when the content inevitably disappoints, you act like it. Which confuses me because you say you don't want to have a roadmap because it ruins surprises, which, to be honest, is a fair point, but won't take any action against leakers who eventually ruin the surprise. Also, roadmaps don't need to be detailed logs of all the content coming up. Here's an example. On May 30th, we will have a large story event that will bring a new biome, new missions, new galactic war mechanic, new gameplay features, a new warbond, and new enemies for Helldivers to fight. In nowhere did I say, on May 30th, Helldivers will be defending Super Earth from massive invasion by the Squid with new missions set in huge megacities, which will be a new thing that affects the galactic war, with the ability to now fight side by side with Seed, adding the Masters of Ceremony Warbond and new additional squids to the roster will be dropping here soon. It doesn't sound like that in the least bit, and that's honestly the bare minimum you gotta do to provide people with a sense of security and tempered hype for the future. But
they don't have to temper your hype. It would be nice if they did, but they don't have to do that because you guys already demonstrated what happens when you don't feel like you're being given enough attention. And you get really fucking petty, really fucking fast.
It's just silence. I know the community right now is probably super fucking toxic.
Not to mention the fact that any update of that kind and variety that could be announced with that, there's this thing, sir. There's this thing that you seem to be forgetting. I'm gonna go look up this thing that seems to be the case, and I'm gonna show you how stupid this is. Right? You want them to give you hype. Yes, hype. Oh, that's the history feature. Helldiver 2 trailer. Oh my god, what's this? A launch trailer for Into the Unjust? An intro cinematic that is launched every time we start the game and autoplays? Join the Helldiver trailer? The official launch trailer? The Omens of Tyranny trailer? The Dust Devil Warbond trailer? The Hard Democracy trailer? Launched not just from PlayStation, but also from Xbox itself? Ah, man. You're right. We need to specifically get new tiered updates on the level of the fucking levels of investment for League of Legends to get you to play the game. You're so right, bro. Bro, you're so right. You're so right. Oh, what's that? Huh? What's that? They're owned by sovereign money. They're a giant multi-conglomerate that is in the hands of China. Riot Games manages the majority of the esports scene in that scene. Both the Tier 1, the Tier 2, the Tier 3, the Tier 4, and the Tier 5 esport. Which itself is already a tragedy. You all know that because I never shut the fuck up about it. What's that? To get what you want, you need to be bought out. You just got the game back from the fucking brink when it was ruined by Sony fucking with the game. Perhaps what somebody should have done. Maybe what I should have done. Somebody should have sat down and told you exactly how fucking close to devastation the game came towards being a dead game. Even though we've talked about it all the time in the Discord, but yet again, y'all niggas ain't in them conversations because y'all niggas don't actually communicate with anybody. Nah. So, I don't know what to tell you, bro. I unironically don't know what to tell you. Every type of advertisement that they did, and every type of support that they did, even the goddamn event that they did at the Game Awards, which announced Omens of Tyranny. Wait, excuse me, not Omens of Tyranny. Hard Democracy, and the invasion of Super Earth. That that wasn't enough! No, it's always something else.
Deal with it as a dev and not something you want to engage with. But just like a relationship, ignoring the issues of your significant other doesn't make the problem go away.
They didn't ignore us. They directly answered and addressed it on spot. And they did it very much so. Even while they were being harassed by Mark Kern, they still communicated. Guess who did that, though? It was Johans. The current CEO doesn't talk like that. And, because you harass them, dumbasses, not everybody here, and certainly maybe not even the content creator, but other people. Because you people harassed them constantly and went out of your way to be bullies about it to them constantly, you created the nexus, and you created the surface, and you created the instance upon which all of this shit prevails itself. All of you did it. Collectively. Together. All of you collectively. Together. Are the reason why it's like this. All of you did it. Every single fucking one of you. All of you. Including people like... Ow. My head's itchy. Like Airbagged. John Paul. Step on down. Or excuse me. Dave Paul. Step on down. Caroline Petite. The trans one. Step on down. Alana Pierce. Hot off the fucking promotion for Dispatch. And you're lying about your fucking resources. Step on down. And certainly the biggest lockout currently amongst that gaming sphere, even though all the other gaming sites have gone under the way of the dodo, getting bought up by Valnet. Ow, my hair. Ow. Itchy. Ooh. Ow. Itchy. Ooh. Ooh. Ow. Alyssa Mercante, step on down! Because all of you fighting with people like Smash TT and Kern Grums, Mr. You're Welcome Gamers, was more important than playing the fucking video game. And you too, Cole posting accounts, constantly telling people that the game was shit and that it never recovered. Come on down! They're very selective about how they talk to you now. You created the problem. You created it, and you didn't do anything to fix it. While continuing to say, game bad, game sucks. Well, you cooked yourself into a corner.
Trust that. You can't do that going stealth when there are glaring issues we face right now. I deadass would not care about communication if the game didn't brick people's computers or stutter to 5 FPS the second a horribly designed pack of War Striders ragdolls me to death. Yet, we have issues in the game. You are the devs, and your silence does more harm than just getting in the line of fire and grabbing the reins of the community. Stop leaving it for creators to be community managers. I'm not a W-2 employee of Arrowhead. Wait, do they have W-2s in Sweden? I honestly was gonna remove this part because I don't want people thinking I blame them for the state of the game. That is totally on Arrowhead. Yet, I want to talk about some of the things I noticed in this community. I absolutely love this community, and it has afforded me a special opportunity not many get. That having the best job in the world. I get to spread and manage democracy with my fellow Helldivers and be compensated for it. Something I never thought possible. So thank you once again. I'm forever grateful. It is an amazing opportunity that I don't take for granted. As a content creator, and I bet you as a member of the community of Helldivers too, have noticed some of the same things I'm about to list. I feel this community, while it can do a great many things, have amazing funny moments, and is an overall blast to be a part of, that for a few months now, I'd say when the Masters of Ceremony Warbond dropped back then, we have had an internal war about the sandbox and game balance discussion, and it has...
But you didn't have a discussion. You said grunt fantasy, game bad, game suck, do what we say, otherwise you have no reason to do it. You said. Hey, why are you guys not talking to us anymore? We're just using the words that you said against you. Guys, why aren't you talking to us anymore? And for that, Odo, come on down! Because maybe game design and game balance are two different things that don't need to be maligned side You calling the devs retarded and using their words to say, actually, you don't have an explanation for it because realism isn't a good explanation for the game balance, and also, this thing here is just like this bug here, and even though this is not important to the subject matter, I'm going to bring it up anyways because I'm upset at you. Much like talking to your significant other, constantly bringing up things that they did wrong and calling them stupid does not solve the problem. If all you ever do is point out the things they do wrong, and you never take accountability for yourself, you're not going to be in this relationship for very long, bro. Maybe you should try saying something they've done right, and something that you did wrong. And suddenly, you're clinking and clinking and zhishing and laughing, and you're making a pie on the bed. You haven't got the pie on the bed yet, have you? No! Because bitching and blackpilling isn't game balance and fixing the game.
Totally devolved now, making the topic literally an unavoidable radioactive bomb. This community doesn't have productive...
There's that switch again. First it was player-based, now it's community again.
...conversations when engaging with one another. I feel a lot of the rhetoric by YouTubers is how inflammatory can I make my opinion, and I'm not...
Yes, because you people want to get clicks in your videos, and unfortunately, you decided to sacrifice understanding and enjoyment and consistency for attention. And that's your fault. You did that. Suffer.
I'm not talking about clickbait, I'm talking about the actual substance. For example, ODST Warbond was ranked the worst Warbond in the game by many, and while I agree...
Because it is. That's not debatable. It is. 1,500 super credits for a glorified weapon cache. A new player weapon cache that most of us hoped would have something really cool inside of it. And it didn't.
It has many issues. Do we really think it's worse than chemical agents? Or don't even get...
Chemical agents is great. What the fuck are you talking about? It supports an entire emergent game design that didn't already exist, and not only provides the ability to make it functional, but gives the ability to make it functional and fun. And all you have to do is put the fucking armor on, bro. What are you talking about? Unironically, what are you talking about?
We started on the light pen versus medium pen debate.
It's not a debate. Light pen is accuracy based. Medium pen is this weapon suite that does the most for the least. Instead of trying to take light pen and hitting a target that you know you can't hit, and then getting mad, people said, maybe you should try a different weapon. Maybe I should do the voice.
Maybe you should try a different weapon, SpongeBob. Because it doesn't seem you have very good accuracy and aim. Maybe Sandy will help you.
Maybe, instead of blaming the game design, you try getting good at aiming the goddamn gun. Maybe don't try to plug an auto pump shotgun that does 150 damage light pen into a target that has heavy armor and say, I don't understand it. Why is my gun working?
so tiring. Yes, a lot of light pen ARs need a damage buff, as they don't...
No, they don't! They're light armor! They're designed for bullets! They are ballistic, high fire rate tools! They are designed to shoot bullets and keep putting bullets down range. The tenderizer does not need to get more damage. It's already one of the best guns in the game! If you're looking at the capacity of DPS.
properly fulfill the job I see light penetration being used for. However,
Say that again.
yes, a lot of light pen ARs need a damage buff, as they don't properly fulfill the job I see light penetration being used for.
One more time.
Hey, it's so tiring. Yes, a lot of light pen ARs need a damage buff, as they don't properly fulfill the job I see light penetration being used for.
Once more, and again, until this becomes annoying to the rest of you as much as it is to me. Jack the sound up higher. jack the sound up even higher. It's now on 300%. One more time.
Doesn't have productive conversations when engaging with one another. I feel a lot of the rhetoric by YouTubers is how inflammatory can I make my opinion. And I'm not talking about clickbait, I'm talking about the actual substance. For example, ODST Warbond was ranked the worst Warbond in the game by many, and while I agree it has many issues, do we really think it's worse than chemical agents? Or don't even get me started on the light pen versus medium pen debate. It's so tiring. Yes, a lot of light pen ARs need a damage buff, as they don't properly fulfill the job I see light penetration being used for. However, properly fulfill the job I see light penetration being used for. Properly fulfill the job I see light penetration being buff, as they don't properly fulfill the job I see light penetration being used for. Properly fulfill the job I see light penetration being used for. Properly fulfill the job I see light penetration being used for. However,
You're not a developer! That's not your call! If you feel that way, make a fucking submission to the survey! Then make a starting conversation! Stop telling the developers how to design the game! Let them talk!
you can use something like the M90A or amendment on Super Helldive for any faction and still be fine. They are not useless. But on the flip side of that same coin, War Striders, and when people point out War Striders kill skill expression as everyone is forced to bring anti-tank, that isn't a skill issue. If you have a problem with the game and the said problem can be fixed by improving your gameplay, then it's a skill issue. If the problem persists despite your improvement, then that's a game issue.
No, it's not. It is still a skill issue. Jesus fucking Christ, dude. You made this. This is a video. You put this in a suite. You said this live back on your first recording. And after saying the way that I see it, you didn't once consider, maybe I'm wrong. Okay.
And debate. It's so tiring. Yes, a lot of light pen ARs need a damage buff, as they don't properly fulfill the job I see light penetration being used for. However, you can use something like the M90A or amendment on Super Helldive for any faction and still be fine. They are not...
You can use anything. The game is a sandbox. There is no meta in a sandbox except the buckets and the shovels.
Useless. But on the flip side of that same coin, War Striders, and when people point out War Striders kill skill expression as everyone is forced to bring anti-tank, that isn't a skill issue. If you have...
There are so many different ways to deal with War Striders, including ignoring them. But if we're going to say that evasion is not an option, and you have to engage them, you have one-handed and two-handed destruction tools. You have stratagems. You have grenades. You even have main hand weapon tools, because the explosive kit allows us it. Also, everyone's favorite weapon, the ultimatum. Oh, get nuked. Oh. Not to mention how many of you guys fucking swear by your lives for thermite. Last I checked, you throw on fucking armor passive, you get goddamn 5 of them. Walk around with a supply pack. You refill them 3 at a time. Shunk, 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 click, shunk, 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 click, shunk, 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 click. And that's not even talking about pyrotechs. The least appreciated grenade out of all the slots. But this is of course assuming that you're at the point where you have all the requisitions of the game so you can use them freely. Assuming that you're still in the condition where you don't have the ability to use these, then you probably have missing permissions. Those of you who are 100% standard war bonded and don't have a single war bond to your name, not even democratic demolition, so that you can have access to the Expo, to the Eruptor, to Thermite, and to the GLP. You are in a position where you are getting fucked over by other people who don't know how to slow down and speed up combat to their liking. Because last I checked, a War Strider still dies to a bombardment raid just like anything fucking else. And it doesn't move fast, certainly moves slower than a Harvester, which act like they got fucking LeBron Jordan feet on when they move out of the way of a Gatling barrage. Not even to mention the other forms of glassing you could use, considering the majority of you are playing heavy loud. Which means you're walking into the zone, you're trying to shoot everything that moves, and you're bringing call down after call down after call down of bot drop reinforcements on your head. And not a single one of you hit the fucking 120 orbital AT barrage. But okay, you're being forced. You're being forced. You're being forced, and you're losing at the simplest enemy in the game. One that's countered by your fucking holy hand grenade, Mr. Thermite. And is also countered by the literal in-hand anti-tank option, the ultimatum. Granted, even I was angry at the ultimatum, and you know what I did? I got good, and I learned how to use the ultimatum. And now I'm great with it. Lightning with the blam blams. Now, that's completely separate from the understandable argument that War Strider combinations in the current configuration that they are coded in the Boolean statement aren't fun to engage with. Because they have 3 modes. There is, my wobbly legs can't keep up with the diver, and then there's, would you like 1 grenade or 2? Fuck it, have 16, nigga! And then, engaging cannons, Daka, 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 Daka. I think you need another 16 grenades. Ah! And while you're running from those grenades, Daka, 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 Daka. Literally, every single time you come across a War Strider and you are actually getting fucked by them, you are trying to run from me. Grenades, grenades, Daka, 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 Daka. Mr. Strider, I see you need help. Tag team this nigga. Daka, 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 Daka. Is the diver alive? We don't know. Throw more grenades. Daka, Daka, Daka. If you want to really argue that, sure, yes, they're designed to flush you out of cover. Guess what you're hiding behind? Cover. Guess what they do? Flush you out of cover. Suddenly, bombardment doesn't sound too bad, does it? Because guess what's standing behind the War Strider? Yes. It's the dog walker you didn't kill! So, you have 3 choices. You can hide until you die, you can run until you die, or you can step out of cover and get blown up by the dog walker, which is to say the factory strider, and the entire armament that you made aware to you because you went in guns hot. Of course, obviously, outside of Alex's opinion, which is why the fuck are you shooting at enemy vehicles with assault rifles? Especially when you're not flanking. You could take the secret hidden 4th option. My mouth's getting dry. You could take the secret hidden 4th option and run away from them and don't make that much noise. And then, when it's completely unaware to you, put a fucking thermite on its back. Same thing with the dog walker. Don't make it aware to you. When it's walking towards you, throw out a distraction. Then, when it's distracted, walk underneath it, bring your fancy schmancy quasar laser, and do the maneuver that I did, where you shoot it in the goddamn stomach. Because it can't see you, and it can't release enough enemies to fight you. But that's not an option to people who are dog shit, obviously.
A problem with the game, and the said problem can be fixed by improving your gameplay, then it's a skill issue. If the problem persists despite your improvement, then that's a game issue. If I bring in AMR, railgun, or heavy machine gun, something I used to change between almost all the time while on bots, I'm severely punished for it when I get a War Strider seat and have to deal with an enemy that is antithetical to the very design philosophy of the automatons. I think the War
No, it's not. The game design of the automatons is a suppressing firing line. They were designed to get less accurate when we shoot them, and more accurate when we don't shoot them. Of course, this is away from the secret 5th option that Exocrusher just communicated, which is talk to your team and use your teamwork to shoot them in the back while one of them distracts them. But unfortunately, as you might learn, I'm the only creator that I at least know of that actively is not playing his life. Got it. I appear to be the only creator who plays for his team and with a team, even when the people who I'm playing with are retarded as shit. Give me 1 second. I need to go serve dinner. 1 second. Shadow, where are you? Shut up, me boy, me Bob. I need you to entertain the people while I go feed my parent. Father, I am not tall enough to reach the top of the chair. Shit. Where's my playlist? Here it is. Okay. Let's continue.
Force Rider is antithetical to the design philosophy of the automatons because the automatons are all about big machines of war that can do epic damage and force players to respond. This is evident from...
One more time. I'm not going to do it in multiple times before. The first one was egregious as shit.
Is antithetical to the design philosophy of the automatons because the automatons are all about big machines of war that can do epic damage and force players to respond. This is evident from the simplest Devastator all the way to the Factory Strider, having options.
So, the War Strider, that is a one-man crew designed for area of denial and zone of control that forces people to have to remove themselves from behind cover and rotate their position, potentially putting them in the way of those machines that then force you to put yourself in the direction of other machines that can blow your ass away because you didn't already dismantle the citadel and or fortress and or outpost. You're mad about that enemy that can easily be dismantled by peeking out of cover, sticking it, and running, or peeking out of cover while aiming to kill it and running with a control tool, or peeking out of cover, potentially getting aim punched with the epoch, which I've never complained about. It's part of its game design, and blowing up with 1 to 2 shots from cover, and or just glassing the entire thing with something that is not the orbital laser. And you're saying it's bad game design because you said. Because it's not how you would design it. Because if we divine, that's not how I would play the character. That's not how I would play with the weapon. That's not how I design the guns. Ergo, it's bad because that's not how I would design the War Strider. Well, great thing you don't design the War Strider, because I'm pretty sure it'd be dog shit basic if it was.
Like vents, lower armored heads for a one-shot, eye ports, and faceplates. All of these options and more. Even while annoying it can be sometimes to get ragdolled, this is to force you to move and reposition, force you to deal with the equipment that an enemy has. It might be best if you totally strip a Factory Strider of its main cannon and chin gun before trying to dive in under to shoot it in its one of many weak points for a quicker kill. Yet the War Strider offers no such thing. My loadout has strictly...
It has poor turn speed. It is literally Ed 209. It has no turn speed. You can get within 15 to 35 meters. And the thing that happens is that the closer you get to him, even though they technically still do have some type of crush attack that can punch you, they cannot aim well because they were made for making you run out of cover and run from them, not towards them. Then you can get up close and personal and shoot that motherfucker with a heavy machine gun in the body, or stick it with some form of explosive like a thermite and then run away. Because the thing that it's also very susceptible to is EMS strikes. Guess what you guys don't use on the automaton front? At least not within the last year and a half. Or let's be more fair. Within the last 3 months. Anything that has static on it. You bring high explosives to the front. You bring orbital lasers to the front. You bring the barrages to the front. Even the napalm barrage, which doesn't have that much value. You'll bring anything but a fucking stun tool. You don't even bring the de-escalator. You all declare the de-escalator is dog shit. Despite the fact that it's not. You refuse to use the weapons that counter it. Just like you do on the Illuminate front. Oh my god, the flesh mob is so powerful, I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. Yeah, it is annoying how it teleports, but when that motherfucker's in an open field, have you tried using fire, arc, and gas? No, why would I do that? It doesn't one-shot. Demonstrate actively destroying them in 3 seconds. And yes, stun grenades and electric has 2 times vulnerability on the bots as well. Thank you, Extra Pressure. I almost forgot. It usually doesn't come up as a factor because I usually don't die like this. But the same excuses It's the same excuses, just different.
Oh my god, the War Strider has no weakness other than the fact that it is capable of being kited very simply, but is usually not the direct threat. It's the other threat that's standing behind it, that's flushing me into cover, that's pushing me out of cover. Oh, the Flesh Mob has the same health pool of a Bile Titan, but it has no protective armor casing. But it's just too tanky!
Which is the same shit you say about the fucking Overseers. Again, it's exhausting. People who don't understand how to fucking lab have the audacity to say it has no weaknesses. You don't know what weaknesses it has if it's not on the wiki. And the half of you that are skimming the wiki, you're not even saying thank you for the fucking advice. That's why I did all of my crowdsourcing. That's why I did all of my crowdsourcing. And then when I made the guide, I started out very simply with, let's start with the basics. Because by the time we get to the complex shit of vulnerabilities on the faction front, I want them capable of doing something like not killing me with their turrets. Because war dogs go outside the house.
In the commando all the time, or if I really want to bring an AMR, I have to bring an ultimatum. While I have fun since I view the commando as a high skill use and
Excuse me? Say that one more time? I could have swore that you just said what I thought you said.
all the time, or if I really want to bring an AMR, I have to bring an ultimatum. While I have fun since I view the commando as
I have to bring an anti-tank tool. Have to. Have. The entire fucking... So, in order of Crash Out, I have to, should. The automatons are composited of enemies that have anti-tank all over their body and are very hard targets from the front. You should bring heavy tools, heavy explosives to the front because that is what they are countered by. You are trying to go into the front with the least amount of tools possible and then getting mad that you're getting manhandled because you did not go in with the tools that would simplify or make easier the front. And it's not even a case of a recoilless rifle. It's just a case of, I know how to use the tools, and I understand what it is my build is designed to do. And I'm willing to limit what I think success should look like, and I'm capable of using them correctly, as they were designed. While playing on the max difficulty, mind you.
Oh my god, I can't believe I'm being faced with 5 War Striders on
Super Hell Dive 10,
while I'm playing in the hardest difficulties of these maps. Oh my god, it's so stupid.
Then, the ultimatum is designed as anti-tank for the second sidearm. By taking the ultimatum, it gives you the ability to have an experimental, immediate, quick kill method as an emergency. Because not everything is supposed to get one-shot by the ability for it to fight back the way that it does. So then, like, don't play on the highest difficulty if you don't want to struggle that hard. Da-da. And then, even then, with bringing the ultimatum, by having an emergency tool, it then would mean that you have a simplistic tool that helps you dismantle it when you're not being fucked with. Like, suddenly, Quasar is not an option. Huh? Never mind me and all of my friends and all of my mutuals that use Supply Pack and Epoch, while I'm living over here in my Charge Up Plasma Fantasy in Paradise, popping them out of the fucking sky before they even drop. If what you want is a solo power fantasy, why don't you play a different game? Like the game I'm playing right now. Third Edict, live on air, still going. But no, you don't want to go to the place where they'll give you the fucking, the thing that you want to do. Besides the answer of bombard, bombard, bombard. No, you don't go to the ARPG if you want to play an RPG. You go to the live service tabletop RPG that is disguised as an action movie that is actually an extraction FPS shooter, or technically a tabletop RPG game that is disguised as an action movie that's disguised as an extraction first-person shooter for you and your friends that you treat like friend slop when it's not repo, and go do that. No, that's not possible. You want what you want, and any answer we give you is not good enough. Again.
as a high skill use anti-tank option, and stuff like the recoilless really bores me. It doesn't deny the fact that my options went from a white
Never mind the fact that I'm forced to use this one option, and also another completely fine option bores me, so it's out too. Oh baby, I like it raw. Oh baby, I like it raw. It's such a raw opinion. I'm changing the title of the stream. 1 second. The title of the stream is now addressing the Helldivers 2 quitting cope. Tell your friends, tell your dad, tell your mom, tell your mom's friends. Oh my god! My throat is gonna be destroyed by the end of the night, guys. In a video game, right, Carl? In a video game, right, Carl? Yes, in a video game. If I don't make these jokes, I'm going to cry out of how angry I'm going to be at these people. Oh my god. If I don't make these jokes, I'm going to explode out of anger, bro. Oh,
Wide suite of support weapons I can use to just anti-tank. On top of that, the super hyperbolic inflammatory rhetoric we use to describe things is also creating a space that makes it impossible to have nuance and even have a conversation. I remember.
Yes, because you guys do not allow people to have said nuances. Because when everybody gives you an answer to the solution, and then gives you 4 other answers that will solve the problem to you, excuse me, elitist, 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 I'm gonna get you banned, elitist, elitist.
When I was discussing how, while I agree with 85% of Odo's claims concerning the M98, that when he says the weapon isn't usable past difficulty 3 on boss because of Devastators, that's a joke. Or when I hear Mr. Pips say the amendment was useless in his review, that's an exaggeration. Or when I see chatters tell me all shotguns are bad, remove them from the game, it's just hyperbole. I understand we can be animated.
Yes, people like to make up arguments to try and progesterate argumentation and debates. When, again, there is no meta in a sandbox. But, you know, it is what it is.
Be hyperbolic or make jokes. But there are a lot of these hyperbolic claims that are said seriously. So when I treat them serious and say, yeah, light pen weapons do need a damage buff because they aren't hitting the breakpoints at a satisfying pace, but I think it's out of pocket to say the M98 is unusable on higher difficulties. That doesn't make me an arrowhead shill or a glazed diver. I feel a lot of the time guns are unfairly blamed for the underdeveloped features or horrible enemy design. The M98
Yeah, because you guys are sucking at the game and you need to get better.
struggles on Overseers 100%, but is it the M98's?
It doesn't struggle on Overseers. Overseers have a higher amount of health than what most of us would expect to be normal. And that's because most of us are trying to hit center mass. We're not shooting them in the head. They die to a single headshot. Because the majority of you are using light penetrating armor weapons. You keep using the weapon that is getting stuck on their ablative armor that doesn't punch the hole. And then getting mad about it. Woo! But of course, I'm just being a glazed diver by telling you the honest truth about yourselves. Here, single player girl goes again, being a negative Nancy.
His fault, or the fault of the enemy that we all agree is unfairly tanky and needs to be.
It's not unfairly tanky. Your aim sucks, and you use light penetrating weapons on something that is capable of resisting it, because ablative armor plate means that you can strip it off as you put more bullets into the enemy. Last I checked, them motherfuckers die real goddamn quick to a minigun, bro. But again, what do I know? I'm just some black guy.
To be changed. Arrowhead doesn't help with this issue, constantly releasing new enemies that have more and more armor, and less.
They did not release enemies that have more and more armor. The last fucking patch was literally enemies that all feature across the entire Terminate front, and one new sub-faction that has medium plate. Because as is a part of the scaling of the game, which would be obvious to you if you all actually remembered what the scaling of the game was, the penetration of the Terminates started out as light penetration, and somewhere, specifically within the adaptation from 1 to 3, I believe starting at 4, and if not 4, 5, the Nursery Spearers and the Bile Spearers gain an evolution where they stop being light armor penetration, and they start becoming medium armor penetration. And the reason why is because the Bile Spearer has an armored head, as it shows you from the blackened chitin, where the Nursery Spearer was weaker, but eventually does get a change that is not communicated through its design. So technically, all Nursery Spearers need to be disappeared, and if the Nursery Spearer is a Nursery Spearer, it remain a light armor penetration evolution, instead of all Bile, which is medium. which tend to have been the case for a while, but then you started getting both. But that completely is overflowed by the fact that the entire faction, at least for anything that has an explosive big back butt, just like we were told by Piles, from that tweet that you guys love to reference, if you shoot it with a grenade launcher twice, it blows up, and it instantly dies. Oh, I gotta shoot it in the head! Oh! How about using your explosive tool? How about using napalm? How about using any kind of fire? No? Not anymore, I guess. Or am I the only person who remembers when all of you, and I mean all of you, were using impact grenades, even all the way into Escalation of Freedom?
Less and less weak points. The point of this game to me is that you can take a medium pen primary and shoot center of mass with no problem, but light pen weapons allow you to take advantage of those unarmored weak spots and do more damage than someone using a medium pen weapon if you have the accuracy and skill. But sadly, that's not the case anymore due to how enemies are now designed, as well as some guns, light and medium pen together, needing a damage buff.
So that's a lie. Because I can take two guns from the AR front and demonstrate that that is not the case. And it's one of the ones that has one of the weakest damage alongside the newest one that has literally all of the damage because it's typed as incendiary. Coyote, pacifier. 50 bullets, or excuse me, 50 damage a bullet, 45 bullets in the capacity round. It's typed to be a stun round. That weapon gives you all of the control. All of the control. And unfortunately, you guys can't handle it. You can't handle the gun. You don't even think the gun is viable. You think the gun is weak and bad. Meanwhile, over in Carl land, I discovered that not only does it have the ability of doing its job, it has the ability to do its job while stopping things from being able to make callouts. Getting through my shit, just simple, just fine, just easy. Because I'm not giving them a chance to fight me. And if they do try to fight me, I am burning them to death. Burn in this statement technically means I'm killing them before they have a chance to act, but also burning them to death. Because if I'm not using G4 gas, I'm using incendiary impact. And all of a sudden, even if I was using the cooks, which I was using before when I was on Super Earth, even when I'm using the cooks, all of a sudden, that patrol pack isn't there anymore. Because I don't have shit aim. And even if I happen to miss a couple of shots from the target, I put the target down. And I make sure it's dead before I move forward. Instead of the rest of you that leave fucking hangers on alive, and then all of a sudden you're getting back attacked, and you don't understand why.
Some guns need total reworks, like the concussive liberator and pacifier, because they are just that underutilized. I feel myself going into a tangent about light pen versus medium pen. It feels like a lot of us, from creator to community member, are quick to shit down Arrowhead's throat about something that isn't an issue or is the victim of another issue that's in the game. And I feel a lot
As you're doing that right now,
of us also are quick to come to Arrowhead's defense, when honestly, what they did was indefensible. Another example of this is when we look
not giving you immediately everything you wanted like fist babies.
at suppressors. A lot of people think suppressors don't work, but they do. The suppressor on the ODST stuff and the stealth perks on the ODST armor are not the issue. They are not the problem. The game having a barely developed, accidentally discovered stealth mechanic is. I always said I never...
Barely discovered, they said. You guys do not ever try putting your weapons away and keeping radio silence. You haven't learned how to be ghosts. Maybe you need to be sent back to the Creek until you do. Because that was always the counter to those problems back in those days, and still are now. Going weapons silent until it's time to go extreme lethal prejudice weapons hot, and then going back to silent again to keep radio silence to a minimum has always been a choice. That's just not fun to you.
Never wanted suppressors in the game because until Arrowhead fleshed out the stealth more in this game, I knew that if any kind of stealth stuff was added, it would purely be aesthetic because it would not function properly. If I give you flint and steel, but no kindling to start a fire, it's not that the flint and steel isn't working, it's that you have nothing to kickstart the flame. That's the ODST work.
Yeah, but you know what would happen if we were in a survival process and I gave you the ability to have tools to start a fire except the kindling to start the fire? I'd be expecting you to learn how to make kindling. Granted, this is now mixing metaphors. If I put you into the environment and I sent you out into the wild, if I sent any of y'all motherfuckers from the Helldivers community, any of y'all from the Helldivers community out into the wild to actually survive, you are going to die in the wilderness like the Bear Witch Project. You send my ass out into the goddamn forest, I come back a father. That's what's actually happening here. You don't know how to habla. You lack skill. And then you get mad at the game. And mad at people who point out the fact that you lack that skill. Maybe stop co-think and seething publicly. Maybe stop making the point of all of your content and all of your material. Maybe try playing the game well on a fundamental level. Stop blaming everything and everyone and actually start looking at the game as what it is, which is a game. And actually learn how to play it. Instead of like a lifestyle brand choice, which is what some of you actually treat it like.
Warbond in a nutshell. The suppressors and stealth stuff works, but the game has a barren and barely working stealth system that allows you to take full advantage.
No, it works very well. Enemy awareness has always been fine since the first day. Every faction even has different forms of awareness. Which is why the Illuminate is the most balanced. Because their form of awareness to call down any type of reinforcement requires a Watcher Sprite. They are disabled from calling support if you just deal with the Sprite. And many of you would rather keep your guns trained on the pack instead of dealing with that enemy before it rounds the corner and then you get spotted and buddy spiked. Same thing with the Illuminate, or excuse me, with the Automatons. They buddy spike enemies in the form of 2 units, 2 that can call them down. And when you start that bombardment, you do not go out of your way to make sure the bombardment kills them, or that you spot them and kill them, or that you open up, you get them to call down, and after having baited them to call down for support, you bombard them into hell, and then dismantle them. That's never what you guys do. I don't want to hear it. I do not want to hear it. I do not want to hear it.
Of the tools given to you in that Warbond. But we are for some reason blaming the Warbond, and I rarely see people blame the underdeveloped feature that is stealth. My main point...
I'm out.
You see, we're blaming the weapon when we should be blaming the devs, which we were already doing when we first had the mechanic, because none of us understood how to use it, forehead.
Is that while Arrowhead is childish for standing its ground on some of the dumbest balance and design decisions...
Once again, Grunt Fantasy rears its ugly heads. They're super childish for trying to design the game the way that they envision it, instead of the way that we said that we should have it happen, and allowing things to work itself out. You won't bend to our whims, and because you won't bend to our whims, I'm going to continue harassing you and calling you a part of the problem, when, quite frankly, even when the developers and the moderators play the game, they're not having the problems that we're having, forehead. Clearly, they must be playing on a different build of the game.
you can think of for this game. I personally feel we as a community can do better when it comes to having conversations about the game. It's extremely disappointing to see, but I know it's the internet and some people genuinely are glaze divers. I see people line up in defense of Arrowhead over the dumbest, indefensible shit I have ever seen, and it makes no sense.
In your opinion, to you, which is part of the reason why you continue to find yourself where you are, because you keep saying other people are stupid, instead of considering that you might just be bad.
Game cringe, game cringe, game cringe. Game cringe, game cringe, game cringe, game cringe, game cringe,
Game cringe!
game cringe. It's game fucking cringe.
I saw people defending Arrowhead's partners for how they treated Erevan because he made a video about a leak.
In the case of how Erevan speaks, again, we're going to talk about that more in depth when we get there. Erevan chose to act as though, because he thought he put enough time in between updates and other things and other posts, that gave him license to launch into a tirade against the developers, instead of trying to be a smart person who understands tactic and decorum, and pick the right time and the right place in which to aggress his designs and his problems, and instead he did none of that, and acted like a piss baby, just like the rest of you. Thus putting them in a position where if they reward you for behaving this way, they're giving themselves license to be abused, and where you continue to behave that way even when you were given no promise in the case of this, while also understanding that they're outsourcing the problem there. So the problem was caused by people who are not directly addressing it, and instead of communicating like adults, you communicated like children. There I go again, being a glaze diver.
While I don't like leak content, deadass, the unprofessionalism he faced and what felt like literal blackballing is disgusting. While I've had my disagreements with him about his reviews sometimes, he has done so much for this community, providing amazing content for Helldivers to enjoy. So for him to get
Making the same slop content as everybody else is not making content, but okay. I'm gonna have to let you guys have that, because unfortunately that's not a fight that was started by you all. That was a fight started by people like Rage Video Games. Or Rage Gaming Videos? Yes, Rage Gaming Videos, that's the correct order. That was an argument made by tourists that come and go with games. And technically, if you're not always playing the game as a forever game, we're all tourists in that design, depending on. So, can't really be that angry. But, my point still stands. You guys have to put in more effort. Actually sit down and make a real guide. Sit down and make a real guide. And when you make that real guide about the content, be committed to the material. And don't just say, actually, game suck, game bad. Because you guys keep saying the same shit. Game suck, game bad. And you don't actually put in the effort to make a real video. I don't need a tips guide. I don't need 100 things you should know guide. I would like to understand how the kit works if I don't already own the war bond.
blackballed from the propaganda commander program is just depressing, and it's sad to see such a big pillar in the content creator space leave. So, hashtag justice for Aravan.
It's still too loud.
So where does that leave us? Well, for me, I still love Helldivers 2. While I definitely want to start expanding my horizons by doing other content, such as more horror game playthroughs, Escape from Tarkov when it goes to 1.0 on Steam, Arc Raiders when that drops, hell, I even want to do a Solaris playthrough, as well as more creative projects such as the fan animation I've been working on for 2 years now at this point for Destiny 2. There's plenty I want to do. And as I said in the beginning of this video, I'm not quitting. I'm not even taking a break. There is a likelihood right now I am live doing another 13-hour tour on some random planet fighting the enemies of democracy with all my lovely chatters. But I am personally getting tired of the drama. I'm tired of Arrowhead's inability to lock the fuck in for more than 2 months. Arrowhead's silence and blunder after blunder after blunder. I'm tired of every time a warbond drops and a weapon has light penetration, hearing that the weapon can't be used past difficulty 3 or that it's useless.
Amau, that's not how that works, but okay. Let's keep making those arguments that don't exist in your head. No problem. We'll just keep saying things that aren't true and then hoping other people take it as gospel. No problem, bro.
Or when something is objectively designed badly and people point it out, you say skill issue. The conversation in its current state are exhausting because it just feels like that one image with the 2 guys yelling at each other. I love this game and the community for all it's given me, and I really hope that I didn't offend any of my fellow content creators, viewers, or the devs, since I know some watch the channel since they say hi in the chat.
Yeah, that's not gonna help, bro. You basically full on just told them that they are retarded and that they don't know how to do anything, while yourself being not the difference maker. That's not how that works either. You don't get to blast the game and do no steps to improve it, and do no content to improve it neither. But okay, alright, Yep. You're so upset, We got it. You're so upset. Game sucks, game bad, we got it.
From time to time. I just really wanted to get this off my chest. I plan on doing a video about light pen versus medium pen sometime next month. Unmedicated ADHD is a bitch, and I often get distracted easily. I want to thank you all for your time. While I may disagree with some of you on your takes, and you disagree with mine, in the end, we all are Helldivers, part of the same core, wanting what's best for Super Earth. So be safe, and don't drown.
The monkey time. But okay, that's the first video. That's Sakiari. Their opinion is basically they're doing everything wrong at the developers and they're not listening or hearing us, and we're mad about it. Next one.